All right, now we're live. Okay, so one of the things that we talked about earlier this week, I'm going to bring up this page again just because it is pertinent. This site here, the the USWR, the stablecoin. I shouldn't say stablecoin. It's not that. It will be. It's currently sitting at 4.1 cents, and that it will be available on exchanges on the 4th of July. And it's on the Solana network. They've got the Solana, where is it? They've got the Solana contract address right here. So you can already start to exchange your Solana for the USWR, the Water Reserve meme coin. Because it's not. Again, yeah, they're basing it off of the real world asset. But it's Solana is the L1. Solana is the chain that all the meme coins use because it's cheaper than Ethereum, but it's just the Ethereum thing all copied and repackaged into a cheaper blockchain. So it really, to me, it delegitimizes the entire thing.
Is Solana is cheaper? Is Solana more reliable than Ethereum?
Well, I haven't heard the same problems as what Ethereum has experienced, but it's the same programming language.
So I wonder what the difference is if they're using the same programming language, but Ethereum is a literal playing roulette. Is my transaction going to go through or not?
I wouldn't trust Solana as far as I could throw it. Like
But
I'm sure it's going to do great and people are going to make lots of money with it, but I mean, it's an inferior programming language. That's why Cardano was started, was because everybody that was in Cardano left Ethereum because of how much lack of integrity it had. They're like, "Oh no, this programming language is a disaster for trying to write smart contracts." And Cardano went and built their own. They used
so
a program. They used a completely different programming language than what most people would consider.
so then my thought is with that Cybot and getting access to that AI, one of its options is was it Ethereum, but definitely Solana.
Solana is the best route to go because that's what she accepts, and Solana is like their fees are cents compared to Ethereum, where your fees are dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah, like $5 transaction fees are really really good deal in Ethereum. Whereas, you'll never see a $5 transaction fee on Solana because it's like 1 or 2 cents or something crazy.
Nice. Okay.
So, from that perspective, it has utility.
Yeah. But
And I
not,
haven't heard problems, but it's just, again, it goes back to the programming language. What programming language are they using for these smart contracts? And it's JSON, that's the simple programming, super simple programming language. It's not a bad programming language. It's just Ethereum had problems with it when running smart contracts. So yeah, but there you have it. This here is going to be an interesting play, I think, over the next couple of years. Again, I believe that people are going to make money doing it, but I'm not going to touch it with a 10-foot pole. But Solana, where I'm going with this is, here's the price action for Solana. So the timing of this announcement is, well, unique. It's not really at a major pivot point. I would have expected it to be, more so in this area. right? Because there's more pivot points there. But the other thing is that if we take a look at the Wyckoff theory, we are in accumulate. We're in a super accumulation mode right now because we
Would you put
dipped
the screen
below.
on the big screen so I can see all that?
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
So with the price action coming down here, this is in Wyckoff theory. This is the bottom. So it makes sense that would be the timing. Now, there's still lots of speculation, of course, but it's something to consider as we're looking at the price action at this time when the water reserve meme coin is launched, right? I still think it was just, the Trump coin was just his practice round. Now he's got a water coin.
Well, and then Melania to kind of solidify how to do the gig.
Yeah. Yeah, they got a practice round. Amazon dipping down below that pivot point. Google dipping deep, still within the zone. Nvidia creating a new low, so heavily going downwards right now, and that's very interesting to me because in the last couple of weeks Nvidia has released 2 new devices. I should say 4 new devices. There was the first one where now this tiny little box that you can have on your, it's like the size of a hard drive, and $250, and now you've got the ability to host models locally with any computer because it has enough in there to run small models. And then just this last week they released 3 new devices. One, it's a workstation, huge one. It's a big thing. It's server size. I don't even know what the price is, but it's got over 300 gigs of RAM. And the reason why you want something like that is for running trillion parameter models locally.
Wow.
Yeah. So now that's out. And then they also launched a desktop and a laptop. So that also can host models, just not trillion parameter models, but they can host models now. So the fact that Nvidia is releasing these devices, AMD is also releasing devices. It's interesting that they're creating lower lows. That tells me that the devices are not being received well. These announcements, typically speaking, whenever Apple goes out and says, "Oh, they unveil with their great big screen, their Jumbotron, the new device," their stock goes up because investors are excited. Investors are not excited about these newest releases from Nvidia. And here's what I think. Investors are of the mind that bubble is coming to pop. That's what you see in the media. Oh, the AI bubble's about to pop. So of course, what direction is it going to go when they say one direction, they push the price the other direction? And I think what's happening is that Nvidia is actually trying to, boost the public's opinion, right? Get more people involved in it instead of we can't sell the investors on this AI shit because they think that the bubble's coming right away. So what do we do? I think that this is a desperate bid for getting some control over the main people, like the end user. Because Nvidia, they don't build computers. They build chips.
Yeah.
But now they've come out with 4 devices.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that tells me that he's boasting about how it runs Windows. First of all, the only people that are running Windows and models are people who are the general retail user. Anybody that wants to host a model isn't going to use Windows. They're going to use Linux or Apple. That's just how it goes. If you're using Windows, you can, But if you know what you're doing, you wouldn't. Right? And all these devices that he comes out, they're proudly saying, oh, it runs with Windows. Had to say it like 3 times. So that tells me NVIDIA is just trying to make it look like they've got a future by releasing some device, by having some devices released, right? And announced. I shouldn't even say released. They've just been announced.
Oh, well, that's even different.
Right?
I think with doing an announcement that they're trying to gauge the marketplace to see, do we actually release this stuff?
Well, and maybe that's what's going on. Is that they're making the announcement and then sweating bullets because they need something to get some more investors. Where does this lead? I said this on Sunday with the Authentic Media Association. I think the big cyber attack is going to make it where now everybody believes in them. Right? That it's going to be the AI war, the cyber attack, the great big the computer virus that takes over the world. That's why they use the word virus in 2020, by the way. So that people would be programmed for the big computer virus that we all have to protect ourselves from, and we all have to comply, otherwise Grandma's gonna die!
Yeah, she died years ago.
Right?
Oh, good.
I'm curious. I'm really, really curious. So that was what the language pattern was, right? Oh, you're not wearing a mask because you want my grandmother to die. I wonder what it's going to sound like this time. You know, Larry Fink said, "We got to give up our pensions, otherwise China's going to win." What's going to be the virtue signaling at the ground level when this happens? What's that language pattern going to be like? Oh, I guess you want China to beat America. You're unpatriotic. That's going to be a good one. Remember that one in Atlas Shrugged?
Oh, yes.
Just tell people they're unpatriotic, and then that'll get you the compliance.
I think the thing with the pension will fly very well with the generations that don't get pensions or are not even close to pensions or cannot even see a hope of ever having a pension, like what's a pension? And having that feel of, well, yeah, those old people, they're not going to live very long anyway.
Yep.
So we need their money instead of they worked really hard all of their life to be taken care of by their own money, because we know what it looks like when the government takes care of our seniors.
And look at the enmity that has been polarizing both the older generations and the younger generations.
Yep.
Like, even the millennials are blaming Gen X's for their problems. It's just ridiculous.
I've forgotten what is the who comes first, millennials or Gen Xers?
I'm on the cusp of Gen X and millennial.
Okay.
Yeah, those two generations are at odds.
Huh.
Yeah.
But which came first, X or millennial?
Oh, X.
Okay.
Yeah. Millennials references people who became legal age around 2000.
Oh,
Yep.
okay. Okay. I thought it was more of like the birth years.
Yeah, it is. But typically they're going to be about 18 years old at the year 2000.
Oh, okay.
But you know, it's the 80s babies that ended up becoming that's where it transitioned, and I'm technically at the cusp because I was only 20 in 2000.
Ahead of your time.
Not quite yet. I was still pretty. I knew something was fucked up about 9/11. That I knew. I didn't know anything, but I knew something was fucked up there. And just down, I couldn't pinpoint it or put a finger on it, but I was watching everybody freak out about it, and I'm like, there's something not right about this. And that probably was an impetus to my distrust of what the media had to tell me. Especially when I was on the bus on my way back from university. I crossed the border about 3 hours before the attacks. Wow. On my way home from university.
Right.
And when we stopped, the reason I knew something was wrong was because the person next to me in the bus was asking if what I thought of what we saw, in the cafeteria. We stopped at a road stop cafe, like a truck stop, and well, it was a bus stop, and the bus driver literally came into the bus and said, "Everybody out, we got to go look, there's something big on the news." And so we all piled out of the bus and packed into this little truck stop cafeteria and looked at this little tiny TV up in the corner. And then we got back on the bus, and the person sitting next to me said, "So, yeah, apparently that's Bin Laden." Like, she knew who Bin Laden was. And I was like, "What's Bin Laden?" "Oh, he's the leader of the terrorist group over there." And I was like, something's not right about that. How is it that you know about a terrorist group on the other side of the world and you're sitting on the bus next to me? Something just didn't seem right. But I want to say that was a major pivotal moment, because that gave ground for the digital surveillance that is being deployed today. Nobody did anything about it then, so they're just going to naturally progress into the next phase, right? And when it comes right down to it, I found out something else, and when you really think about it, it's totally in line with what I've been saying about, the consent of the governed is how everything gets to be persisted. Well, by rights, meaning that which is jurisprudent, the governed are now guilty of tyranny, or of treason. The governed are now guilty of treason. Why? Because the Declaration of Independence told them what to do to their government when the government no longer works with the alignment to the betterment of their happiness. Mm-hmm. The pursuit of their happiness is the unalienable right. The self-evident truth. They call the pursuit of happiness and the right that man has to pursue that happiness is the self-evident truth upon which they relied to create the Declaration itself. And in that, the self-evident truth says that if the government goes against that principle, it is the responsibility of the people, of the governed, to abolish or overthrow that government. So now it's like it's not even the government committing treason. The treason was committed, and the people say, "Oh, let's go vote for the next treasonous bastard to take the place of the guy I don't like." On to Palantir. Nice big dip. Lost a lot of value here over the last while. This is 3 days losing 16% of its value.
Whew.
Yeah.
They've been in my Telegram and Facebook feeds a lot lately.
Yep.
Where people are going, "Yeah, this is not a trustworthy thing. I don't like this."
Yeah, look at that inner trend line now. That is a steep trend line.
Whew.
But don't worry. The war will change everything.
Which war?
Oh, the next one that America actually has global coverage over.
Mm-hmm. Wish they'd kind of like wrap up things so that, one doesn't have to constantly switch in between wars to see what's going on. I mean, they got the Ukraine, they got Iran. What else do they got? Probably a whole lot more than, obviously a whole lot more than what I'm aware of.
Well, and then there's the economic wars, like the currency wars that they throw at, right? Like Iraq's currency is still under the control of the American currency.
Yeah, that one doesn't get talked about at all.
No, like that is an ongoing currency war that is being that's been inflicted upon them. The people don't even use their own currency anymore because it's not worth anything. They actually go to the cash machine and take out US dollars. Yeah,
Oh, that's funny.
that's been that way since like friggin' 2010 or something crazy. Yeah. Tesla, rising wedge. The Nikkei. Oh, before we get onto this, let's just bring up SpaceX. Because there's news. What? Where did it go? SpaceX, come on, where did it go? Like, why is that not something that I see automatically? Going to the hourly chart, we can now see that the price has brought us back to where it started. Just like every other meme coin out there. But what's interesting to note is that this was liquidated. You know, so that 29% off that's on right now, that was because of the 43% rise as soon as everything came in, as soon as that public money came in. So the public's money, and you know, what is it that went, why would the price go down? Well, it's because the people who knew what they were going to be doing with that money when it came in, they sold so that they had the money to invest in, remember, this is SpaceX. You know, this is the company that Elon wanted to start, and was already a part of the Space Force that Trump talked about back in 2017. SpaceX, the company that is taking us to Mars because Earth is not very habitable anymore, or whatever.
Yeah, or whatever.
They took that money and invested it in AI-driven video generation. They didn't invest it in rockets. They didn't invest it in the company. They didn't invest it where it needed to go. That's why it's a meme coin, by the way, because the money didn't get used for what it was supposed to get used for. And people think this is still one of the best things out there. Yeah, it went up and came right back down again, but that's just, you know, that's normal. It's those greedy investors that sold at the top. Yeah, but what did they do with the money? They just put it into video generation. They got a video production in the game plan. So that tells me we're not going to Mars at all. We're gonna be watching ourselves go to Mars on the little rectangles in our palms of our hands. Sounds similar to the whole moon landing charade. Japanese yen bouncing up against those highs. Once we get above, this is the all-time high right here. So when we get above that, it's be a short distance to the top. Now again, I am now no longer saying I think this is going to happen. There are two ways this could go. And I just did a Rick Sanchez burp while I was talking. The two ways this can go, obviously up or down. If it goes up, it's because the Asian economy is simply not able to keep up. If it goes down, it's because they're in on the game even more. Oil dropping significantly. Let's go to the 4-hour chart so we can see things a little bit better. Look at that. Dropping. We're almost at pre-war levels.
It's not at pre-war levels at the fuel pump.
No.
Food has not gone down.
No. You know, this jump up was 70%, and, you know, the prices have come back down 36%. And then that doesn't mean that it's half. because we're starting from a high number going down. It's 39%. We started from a low number and went up, so that's why it looks like it's more. But that we're basically right back down to the same value. Of the oil is almost at the same value as it was before there were even tensions about the Strait of Hormuz. And it's hilarious. We go through all this fighting over the status. They weren't fighting over the Strait of Hormuz. They were fighting over who had the capacity to declare whether or not the strait should be open or closed. It's that meta. And that after all that, because Trump made a deal with Iran and it was awesome, it was the best deal ever, he said.
Which one was that? I've lost track.
Well, there were so many deals, I know, but the best one was the one that brought the price back down again. And he even said it's amazing how much the price has gone down. Nobody expected it. I'm literally using his words. That's how retarded it all is. He's a smart man, but it is retarded how many people go for it and still go along. Look, people say, oh no, I don't think people are falling for it. They fell for it. The charts tell us they fell for it. Why do I say that? Because when Trump made that deal, part of the deal was Israel had to stop committing genocide. As if it wasn't already a war crime deserving of capital punishment. As if. So Trump agreed that Israel would stop bombing Gaza. And what did they do? They turned around and started bombing Gaza right after that. And then Iran said, I guess the deal's off. We're closing the Strait of Hormuz. And nothing happened to the price. In fact, it's going down as if the strait is open. And the genocide continues because not only did they continue to bomb more they're now just going out to like the residential areas where the population density isn't nearly as high. Why? Because all of the high density population areas are rubble. And what they did was that they went out to those areas in the farming communities, bombed residents, but then they poured glyphosates over the fields to 11,000 times the recommended amount.
That's also genocide. That's also crimes against humanity.
Absolutely. But alas, this is disgusting. Yep, and unfortunately, it's just them wanting Zechariah 12 to be fulfilled. And that's what they're doing. They are goading the world to hate them because that's what the prophecy tells them is going to happen when Yahweh saves them from their oppressors.
From themselves.
US 30, first thing this morning, jumping up, creating another all-time high. 52,682. Trump's the best thing since sliced bread. Silver dipping down below, finding old support from December 2025. Looks like we're probably going to... Did we already? We almost tested the double top from October. Gold prices now tempting the long-term trend line. This will be very, very telling. If gold dips below this trend line, I would be very surprised. Let me just see what we can get out of... an indicator here. I want to bring up a moving average Because at this point here, given how much of a pulse there was, where... Well, let's just... Come on. Favorites. Technicals. Picks. Man, nobody has a moving average at the top. Let's go. Simple moving average. Here we go. Oh, and of course I got to upgrade because I got other ones here. Moving average. The length of this moving average, we're going to go to 200 days because that is a major, major line. And we're well below that. So we are below the 200 average, and we are significantly testing this trend line. We just might. Like, this is market structure right now. If it can't hold market structure, we will be going down another... To find support is 14%.
Oof.
Gold-silver ratio also creating another high. We've got a ways to go. Got another 3 ounces to go before we break market structure at this time. Into Bitcoin dominance still lowering. And I'm keeping that 200 line on for now because I think we're going to see some revealing things here. Bitcoin prices. This is the, we are well below that 200 line right now. So the last 200 days, the average is 76. Currently sitting at 59,000. If it can't keep this market structure, this is C. We're at C. If it can't keep it, the next major support is going to be 51,000. And yeah, again 49,000 as this area here. Ethereum tempting a market structure, a minor market structure here on the weekly chart, on the daily chart, sorry. Dipped underneath the trend line, may not have the strength to continue going up. It is higher than the previous low. But this sign here, we've got many waves. We only had 2 waves getting up to 1, 2, 3. We had 3 waves to get to the all-time high last time, and there were 1, 2, 3 waves coming back down, and the 3 waves coming down are not as low as that previous low from whence we came. What does that mean? Not much, but a 60% likelihood that we don't go lower. I'm not of the mind that we are in markets that follow the norms anymore. I don't think that we are watching probabilities play out anymore. I think we're watching full-on manipulation at this point.
I was going to say agendas.
Yep. Total market capitalization of all of the cryptocurrencies, although over the last while we have seen a major drop in most coins overall, especially those higher up coins. Overall, we've only seen a 6% drop. Now, that is contrary to what we've seen. Look at ADA. You know, ADA in that time has dropped 45%. Ethereum in that time has dropped 25%. Bitcoin has dropped in that time. Bitcoin has dropped 14%. BitTensor in that time has dropped 25%. XRP in the same time has gone down 27%. How is it that all of the market capitalization of all of the altcoins is only down 7%. It's because the money is being held in those long-term visions. Like, look at Fetch. Fetch has barely moved down at all. It is, sure, it's a 17% drop, but that's because it's such a small market capitalization. But that if this was reflective of what we've seen in the other ones, we'd see this, down 30%. Or like something would happen with ADA. It's funny. ADA hasn't changed anything. ADA, as it is right now, is the same technology in its current state. It's the same technology as what was finalized at the end of 2023. At the end of 2023 is where they were able to have governance actions be recorded as transactions on chain. So that area was just where we left. That price point was just where we left. And we dipped down below, now creating a new C. Market capitalization for the altcoins is not falling at the same rate as those top 20 altcoins.
So then the money's going to the top 20 altcoins? Is that what you're saying?
No, the money's going below that, down into the lows, probably like the 30s, 50s, hundreds. The money's staying there. Why? Because although this has dropped, we see a huge, way bigger drop in Ethereum, Bitcoin, ADA, XRP. We're seeing huge drops in all of the big altcoins, but we're not seeing a huge drop in all of the altcoins. So all of the altcoins only going down 7% in total market capitalization. Yet, during the same period of time, because typically when this kind of thing happens, it's like, oh yeah, things are going to go towards Bitcoin. But Bitcoin has also dropped in that period of time. The dominance has also dropped. So people are holding on to those coins down at the bottoms. The meme coins are being held.
People are, we've talked about this many times, but that feeling that of holding one's breath, that the market is holding its breath. And this is like at least 6 months of this feel, maybe even much longer. And that's exactly what that appears to be still, that people are waiting because things are so uncertain.
This is XPX. The meme coin that is just built community around the idea of taking over the stock market. That speaks volumes. That for the last since January, their price has been consolidating, not going down, consolidating. Everything else has been dropping. So this is where we're seeing the evidence of people holding on. Some drop in Super. This is a gaming. Clearpool, though, real world assets. That's February, holding its own. Fetch, since January, holding its own. Midnight maintaining its position. It's not a 6-month thing, but since May. So yeah, that's the general pulse on the market today. Watch out for, I'm going to see if we get it here. WR. Yep, the water reserve is already up here in the Yeah, these are Ethereum contracts. Look at how new this is. This is the 5-minute chart. Opened June 23rd. 2 days ago. This is not the coin. This is a wrapped coin. It's Ethereum that's wrapped it. So we don't see the listing yet on the Solana, simply because, well, Solana is, rather the exchanges have to list the coin yet, and that's on July 4th.
Which is a Saturday. That's very interesting.
Oh, that is very interesting.
I mean, I get it that crypto doesn't sleep, and it just feels unusual for something major like that to occur on what is considered a weekend.
Yeah. Here's Solana actually holding its own since March. All right. That's that, I think. I have no idea. It doesn't seem like, well, it didn't seem last night. I don't think. Oh my gosh. Last night, Zoa said she didn't think she was coming to co-work. Audrey is on the road. She won't be coming to co-work. For co-work, did you want to do the whole Solana wallet?
That would probably be a good idea.
Exchange thing? Yeah. Okay, let's do it. And then you can load up a few bucks over there. I would say the minimum is, I think it was 0.04 Solana, and right now, oh, this is the Solana. This is not the coin that I want. That's the Solana versus the KuCoin coin. Let's go USDT. How come KuCoin doesn't have... Tether. There it is. So right now, sitting at 66.90, the minimum transaction was 0.04. So 0.04. I gotta figure this out. How do I do this? What's the math here? I gotta write it out. It's not much, that's for sure. Minimum transaction seems to be minimum transaction is not much. It's like that doesn't make any sense. I'm gonna have to look at that thing again. But according to this, it's like the minimum transaction that that she's asking for is like 5 cents. Yeah, I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Yeah,
Okay, at Cowork, I'll see you then.
you bet.